I'm going to pick up on a project that I started a few years ago and then put down for a while. I'm refinishing the gun stock on a 22 bolt action rifle that I acquired a number of years ago. That's next. So this is what the gun stock looks like from the factory. These Lakefields had at the time pressed in checkering, which I think looks really cheesy. Let me see if I can get a close-up of that. You can see the checkering here, that it's been press fit. I'm not sure how they do that at the factory. All I can say is that it really looks lousy, and that's going to have to get cleaned up. It comes with a Monte Carlo stock, which on its surface is fine. I just want to make sure that the top of the stock is nice and straight, so we'll have to check that out. There are no flutes here, and I'm used to seeing a well-done rifle stock has flutes there. The other thing is that the pistol grip is pretty nondescript. It's not very well defined. It doesn't come up at all in the back. I like to have a pistol grip a little bit better defined than that. Maybe even put an ebony cap on it and see if maybe that would be possible. One other thing that I would like to do is do something about this trigger guard. This thing on its surface is just butt ugly. I think we could probably do better. We'll see if maybe we can get something going on that. And then the other thing that is very noticeable on this stock is the fact that these areas are reseated inside the wood, both at where the clip goes in and the trigger guard. That needs to be cleaned up so that that's a little bit better fit and finish. And then finally on the fore end, well, the fore end is really nothing to write home about. It's kind of clunky looking. I think we can do way better than that, and what I'd like to do is maybe form a little schnabel fore end there and give it a little more sense of elegance. And it would also thin up that rifle stock and make it feel a little bit better. Last but not least, you see the edges here are pretty defined. They should be actually rounded a little bit more so that they transfer into the barrel a little bit better, and we'll see if we can't do something there. The first thing that I'm working on here is just getting the finish off, and what I'm finding is that this pressed checkering is kind of problematic. I've got this down nice and smooth, but it's left a stain here. So that's leaving me with a number of options. What I can potentially do is bleach the wood so that maybe I can get all of that out. But I have a feeling that we're not going to be as successful on that as I would hope. I have another idea in mind for it, and that would be to outline this with some checkering tools. You all from past videos know how crappy I am at checkering, but I'll come up with some other alternative for standard checkering in the inside here, maybe a scallop design or something like that. So on the fore end, I'm doing a little bit better with getting rid of that stain. You can still barely make it out on both sides. So I'm still kind of thinking about the idea of putting an outline in there somehow. And the other thing that I did was I created a schnabel fore end for this. You remember it was really clunky, that fore end, so what I've done is I've brought that down quite a bit thinner, and now it's got just a basic schnabel design. I think I'm using that word right, schnabel. S-C-H-N-A-B-E-L. It's a German word. Schnabel or schnabel. If anybody really knows how you're supposed to pronounce that, put it down in the comments or something. Anyhow, this is coming along, so we'll continue on. I'll see how much more that I can add to the sanding, and I'm also going to get started with some shaping on the stock. Okay, so we've done a couple of things here. First off, I added a couple of flutes up on the top so that I've got a little better definition of the pistol grip. And then down on the bottom, I am kind of sanding this down so that this pistol grip itself is a little better defined. That way, when I put an end cap on it, like the one that I'm about to show you, like so, you see that's going to look a lot nicer overall. Generally, when I'm sanding a stock like this, I leave the butt plate on so that as I'm sanding, I don't round over the wood here. You can see I'm getting this stain off pretty nicely, but it's in there pretty deep, so this stock is going to lose a little weight, I think. No matter, I think it'll be just fine when it's complete. I'm also making sure that I'm keeping this flute well defined. One of the things that you need to do when you're creating flutes like this is you have to make sure that they line up in the center of the stock. Otherwise it looks a little weird when you do it. One of the things that's important to do is make sure that you've got this rounding over moving directly out of the pistol grip and into the rest of the stock. You want to have a transition there that is nice and smooth. The stock originally was squared off at the bottom where these chamfers are here for some of the metal work, and I've had to do quite a bit of sanding in order to get that smoother and more rounded over. One way of making sure that you're keeping things straight is to just put a straight edge of some type on the stock just to make sure that everything is staying nice and straight. If you get off a little bit, you can just do some sanding on the high spots, and then that way you'll keep it as straight as you possibly can. This is another section where I want to make sure that this stays as straight as I can possibly make it. This is the Monte Carlo hump on the end of the butt stock here, and you want to have that nice and straight as well. Here's what it looks like with the barrel on. You can see that schnabel fore end the way it's supposed to look. I think that looks pretty good. Okay, I've got it sanded down. I took it all the way through 220, and it's looking pretty good. So the next step, you see I also put this end cap, this grip cap on the bottom just to make sure that it fits okay, and as you can see it works fine. So the next step will be to put some wood conditioner on this. The idea behind the wood conditioner is to open the pores up evenly so that it will accept a stain better when you're actually applying the walnut stain. Okay, now that I have everything sanded and cleaned, I'm going to apply some of this wood conditioner. This is a pre-stain conditioner. You use this on the wood before you add your stain. That's why they call it this, pre-stain conditioner. And what this does is it allows the wood to accept the stain more evenly, and it provides you with a better looking finish. Okay, so this is nice and dry now, so I'm ready to apply the stain. I was going to use this gun stock, but I'm afraid that might be just a little too light for what I'm after. This stock is made of birch, it's not walnut. The gun stock works nicely on walnut stocks. For this one though, I think we're going to need to go a little darker. So we're going to use this. And I can see already that it's going to be really nice. Okay, it's been a couple of hours and this has dried pretty nicely, so it's time to put on the first coat of True Oil. And this is a product made by Birchwood Casey. It's an oil that you actually put on by hand. It's hand rubbed into the wood, and you can take several coats of this and apply it. It's pretty thick stuff. But basically, what you do is you just rub it in by hand, like I'm doing here, and it gives you a nice hand-rubbed finish on your stock. Okay, it's been a few days since I put that first coat of True Oil on. In that time, I've added a total of about 3 coats of the True Oil, and I've also put on several coats of stain in order to get it to blend better. It probably could use a little bit more help there, but it's looking pretty decent right now. These birch stocks are very hard to stain the way that you would normally do a walnut stain. I think that's why manufacturers that use these cheaper woods either use a spray or a dipping process in order to get the color evenly. So for now, I think we're going to call this a success. I know that I mentioned that I was planning on doing something with the areas that were checkered, and I still plan on doing that. It's just that I don't want to make this video too long. I've got a few ideas, but you know, if you've got some suggestions on what I could do for that checkering area, put them down in the comments. I'd love to hear them. In the meantime, we're going to call this a success, so we'll see you on the next video.